And welcome back to another Rink Masters Locker Room podcast. Uh, I'm your host, of course, Gregory Law. We got with me my trusty duo here, Tyler Croome and Chris Penner. How you guys doing
Listen,
today?
doing pretty good. Thanks for the opening there, Greg. How are you guys doing today?
Living the dream.
Uh,
I love, I love that's now Chris's catchphrase. Living the
living the
dream.
dream.
Living the dream.
Yeah, no, it was a big work phrase from last summer, so I've just kind of kept it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
no, that's a similar one to my job as well. Actually, funny enough. Just hi guys, how you doing? Living life, living the dream.
Absolutely.
So, so absolutely terrible. You know it. All right, so we got a couple of things for you guys today. We're going to be talking about the Buffalo Sabers, about Jack Eichel and Taylor Hall, how they're going to be doing right now. We're also going to be talking about the New York Rangers, how they are having kind of a lackluster start to the season. The first overall with Alexi, and then dropping on over to Chris there for the fantasy draft. And we got a little bit of trivia for you guys today, like the usual.
Sounds great.
Oh,
So yeah,
ready
let's
to get into it.
let's start with Buffalo because Buffalo's a fun team to talk about. They're perennially disappointing.
How so?
They just every year they suck. And then like the
Every
last
year
couple
they
of years, it's
suck.
like, oh, they might be decent this year, and then they're
And then
not
guess what?
decent,
They
right?
suck.
So, obviously this has been a topic for the last couple of years. Is
Okay.
Captain Jack Eichel's future in Buffalo in jeopardy? Now, I'm going to hand this one off to Chris, and then I will follow up.
Go for it.
Yeah, so I mean, we're looking at Jack Eichel here in Buffalo, and you look at it, he hasn't really had much help.
No.
For the longest time he's been in Buffalo, he was obviously the second overall pick in his draft, and I think he's an absolutely nasty player.
Mhm.
I don't think any team would question themselves if they got an offer for Jack Eichel. I think he's too good of a player to
Okay.
pass up on. And we kind of thought this year, well, Taylor Hall's coming there, 1 year deal. That might be the guy to play with Jack Eichel, and maybe there's a future there if they gel or whatnot. But I think with once again, we look at Buffalo and they're struggling once again. And we kind of thought they'd be good. Doesn't happen. So yeah, I think there probably might be a trade in the works. Maybe if it not this season, but I suspect maybe this off season something might happen because if Buffalo keeps up this performance, I can't imagine Taylor Hall sticking around. He signed that
Okay.
1 year deal, so if a team needs a rental player like Taylor Hall, who's an extremely good goal scorer,
Yeah.
I think that would be the perfect thing. And then who does Jack Eichel have with him? There's not much, so
No.
Yeah.
I would suspect this off season would be the time to move him. Probably not an in season move.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's very interesting, right? Because I mean, Jack Eichel, like he's so good. He was drafted right behind McDavid, and if it wasn't for Connor McDavid, Eichel would have been that first overall guy.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
oddly enough, we're going to be talking about the Rangers, and that is the number one team that I think should trade for Jack Eichel. I think if Jack
Oh,
Eichel
really?
were to go, yeah, because I mean, okay, Mika Zibanejad's currently the number one center. He's not a bad player. I think he's good. But I think he's going to fall into the same category as Sean Monahan in Calgary after a couple of years. He's going to be that guy that he should be a second liner. They're trying to play him as a first liner, and that's just not his role.
Okay.
I would not be opposed to the idea of Buffalo trading Jack Eichel in a big deal and trying to swing Mika Zibanejad in the process. I think that is something that they should pursue. But yeah, Buffalo right now, I mean, Rasmus Dahlin is probably their youngest player to build around. And I think that they should try and do that. Bring in the first round picks, assets, young players, and build around Dahlin. I think that's the only way Buffalo is really going to be able to get through the slump. And they need to find a goalie somehow, which is easier said than done.
Taylor Gauthier.
Yeah, hey Buffalo, Taylor Gauthier seems like your man.
Yeah.
He's still available.
He's still looking. I hear he's a pretty good goaltender.
Buffalo's got that stud from Finland too that's coming up. So if he can,
Luukkonen.
Luukkonen, yeah. So he's a stud. If he can perform the way he has in his junior career or now in the pros, I think that would be a really good step for Buffalo as well. But yeah, the Rangers have a lot of good young pieces that they would move out to get Jack Eichel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are pieces with the Rangers where they can afford to give them up to acquire someone like Jack Eichel. Obviously, some cap's going to have to go to Buffalo too, especially when you look at Artemi Panarin's contract. You also look at Jacob Trouba's contract.
Yep.
Just
those
trade
are
Jacob Trouba.
Yeah, those are two really big ones that come to mind right away when you think of the Rangers. So we'll have to keep that in mind. But I do agree the Rangers are a good team that would I think suit Jack Eichel well. And I think going into the Rangers now, what do we think about their season?
Right.
Yeah, good transition actually.
That is a really good transition. New Jersey, no, sorry, not Jersey, New York, they've been pretty bad. Like they have,
I've noticed.
They have firepower, like they do. Lafreniere and Kakko aren't getting the opportunity to be in the top 6. Panarin, I think, has been their best forward by far, but Kreider's been bad too. Like, and it's kind of funny. I was a little puzzled by it, and then I was thinking about this the other day, and I kind of came to the conclusion it's the absence of Lindy Ruff. Because Ruff is now in New Jersey, and Ruff is known for coaching really good offensive systems. Look at New Jersey's offense right now with a lot less talent to work with, at least prime talent.
Yeah.
And look at New York right now without Lindy Ruff. I don't know if it's a coincidence. I personally don't think it's a coincidence. Maybe Chris can touch in on that, but that's my theory.
I think coaching plays a big part in anything. I know with Calgary, we have a piss poor coach. I'll say that right away. We have an extremely talented team, and we underperform. It's as simple as that.
That last game, definitely for sure against Vancouver, even prime example.
No, we underperform, and I think it's directly coaching. And when you look at the Rangers, it's the exact same thing. They're not coached well. They obviously had the distractions too. Let's not turn this away with Tony DeAngelo. I think there's a part in that as well. That's a big distraction and locker room kind of cancer going on with the Rangers. So I don't think we can overlook that too much.
No,
because that messes with your team chemistry and everything.
Yep, definitely for sure.
I think also when we look at it, Tyler, you mentioned Kakko and Lafreniere not getting the minutes. I mean, we both know what those two guys are capable of. We both know they can be absolutely elite players. Laffy was the number 1 pick. Kakko was the number 2 behind Jack Hughes.
Yep.
These guys were taken there for a reason. Let's give them an opportunity to play with some really good players and really show what they could do. Because right now, they're not getting that opportunity.
No.
And with how the Rangers are playing, you have to change things up and give those guys opportunity to really show their skill set. And I think that could go a long way with the Rangers, maybe turning their season around and finding some success. Because they have the team to do it. They just need to properly put those pieces in play and in the right spots to actually have that success. And I think it starts with their 2 young players that are extremely talented. So I think that's big time for the Rangers. And it's not just those 2 players either. There's a lot of other young players too that could use that opportunity as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely agree.
You hit the nail right on the head. And I mean, again, like I mentioned before, Chris Kreider, he's underperforming and he's not looking like he is deserving of a top 6 spot. Why not put Kakko right there on that right wing? Really doesn't make much sense. So yeah, if things don't turn around and if adjustments aren't being made, I think, you got to look at David Quinn, and I think his job could be in jeopardy.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. With all that, moving on, we have the fantasy draft for you guys today. Chris, what is the fantasy looking like this week?
There's been some teams postponed. Dallas, Tyler, I know you're probably disappointed with the whole shit show in Texas. They haven't played. Missing names against Nashville, Tampa Bay. So those teams I can't really comment on.
Yep.
Let's take a look at Florida. I know on the main podcast we talked about the Florida Panthers. Yep. I wasn't on there, but I'd still like to touch on them. Their big guys are performing. Alexander Barkov, Jonathan Huberdeau, Alexander Wedberg, all have been extremely good. I know there's some other guys that were discussed on the regular pod that I don't think I need to go into anymore. But those are some guys that you could keep an eye on. Also, Evgeny Dadonov, couple goals for Ottawa in that 6-5 win against the Leafs. Came back from 5-1. He's a guy who's been really good. There's another guy from Ottawa. I'm forgetting. If he comes to my mind, I'll say him. Also, Austin Matthews has been absolutely tearing it up.
Yeah,
So he's been another
very
guy,
good.
very good. I think he might win the Rocket this year, if I had to be completely honest.
I wouldn't be
Fair.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So
I agree.
I
Not at
think
all.
that's been one of the biggest guys so far. And I think anyone, even in the Canadian division, it's been the goal scoring for sure. So if you can get your hands on some players in the Canadian division, it's been nothing but goals. So yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a guy that I was thinking of out of the Canadian division for the Edmonton Oilers, defenseman Evan Bouchard.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
playing extremely well right now. He's putting up points. He's getting a lot of shots on net, and his defensive coverage has been very good. So if you're looking for some, for some relief on defense, if you need to fill a hole for some injuries, or, like my Dallas Stars, Heiskanen's can't play because their games are postponed, you need to look at Evan Bouchard. I think he's worth his salt.
Fair
Yeah, I
enough.
think
Good
the
point,
guy
good
I was
point.
thinking of was either Norris or Nick Paul in Ottawa.
Both have been very good.
Both of
can't
the
go
True,
those
wrong
are
yeah.
the guys
either.
I was thinking of.
And depending on your pool structure too, Nick Paul's a smart one because he's a power forward, right? So if your league counts hits and block shots as well as shots on goal and goals, I think, yeah, you got to go with Nick Paul. It's the same debate for guys like Brady Tkachuk. Brady Tkachuk's putting up monster fantasy points this year.
And then one other team, Carolina Hurricanes, have also been playing some good hockey as well. So take a look at them
Yeah,
as
they
well,
have been.
coming off some of their COVID issues to start, but they've been very good.
They've been good. I mean, even if you need a goaltender that's going to get you some points for wins, I know for other metrics and statistics, James Reimer isn't the best option, but they're winning. So if wins mean a lot for your goaltenders, I think it's worth taking a look at James Reimer as well.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right, we can move on to the next one then. Of course, we have our hockey trivia for you guys.
Let's go, boys.
I got a couple.
I got to regain my crown.
You got to regain the crown. Think you can get that in a couple questions that we have for you today? We don't have too many for you guys today, of course.
We'll see. 5 for 5, baby. Let's go.
5 for 5. This guy thinks he can go all 5 in. All right. So the next question we got for you guys, of course, is how many times did Mario Lemieux score 8 points in a game? 2, 4, 1, or 3?
4.
Yeah, 4 sounds right. Lemieux was the GOAT and the amount of goal scoring back in the back in his time. I could see it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you guys are both wrong. It was 3 times.
Oh, for Pete's sake! Okay. I am not going 5 for 5. Let's see if I can go 4 for 5.
Not going 5 for. Of course, you're not going 5 for 5. You're got it wrong.
I know. That's why I said.
All right. No one had more than an 8-point game than Lemieux. Only 16 times in history of the NHL has a player tallied 8 points in a game. Wayne Gretzky did it twice. Lemieux 3.
Nice.
Who was the first NHL player with more than 50 goals in a season? Guy Lafleur, Maurice Richard. Tyler, I see your grin. Look away. Bobby
Richard.
Hall, Maurice Richard, Bobby Hall. Oh my goodness, now I'm getting all. And Phil Esposito.
Hey,
Nice.
Phil Despacito.
No.
Sure, we'll go with that one.
No.
Anyways.
I want to say it's Maurice Richard.
that's for 50 goals. Who has the
Yeah,
most
50 goals in a season. Who was the first player to get more
First
than
player to
50
do it?
goals? Yeah.
First player, yeah, it's got to be Richard.
Maurice the Rocket Richard.
Hey, he's got the trophy named after him for a reason. So
Yeah.
On March 12th, 1966, Bobby Hall became the
get
first
outta
NHL player to score more than 50 in a season, surpassing Maurice Richards, Bernie Jeffrion, and his own mark of 50 goals. He would finish the season with 54 goals, a record that he would break 3 years later with 58 for the 68 and 69 season.
Okay, I said I was gonna go 5 for 5. I think I gotta change that. I think I had to go 0 for 5 today, boys.
0 for 5. 0 for 5. All right, which player once ripped off a fan's shoe and beat him with it? Mike Milbury,
That sounds like a
Terry-
Milbury thing to do.
it does. It really
Terry
does.
O'Reilly, Peter
Oh.
McNabb, and Stan Jonathan.
I'm gonna go with Milbury, man. That guy was he was terrible. He had a terrible temper. Like,
Yeah, he did.
Oh my.
I can't see any of those other guys doing it.
No, I can't either. It's got to be Milbury. I mean, if my name was Mike Milbury, I'd be a cranky asshole too.
Yeah.
Mike Milbury gained notoriety following the 4-3 Bruins victory over the New York Rangers at the Madison Square Garden on December 23rd, 1979. During an on-ice fray between the players from both sides, the Rangers fan cut Stan Jonathan's face with a rolled-up program and grabbed his hockey stick. Terry O'Reilly climbed over the plexiglass and went into the stands in pursuit of the offender, followed by Peter McNabb and other teammates. Milbury, who had actually reached the visitors' locker room when his teammates started going into the stands, raced back to join the brawl, caught the unruly spectator, and beat him with his own shoe.
I would have loved to go to a game back in those days. Like, that just seems like pure entertainment. Like,
True.
Also, here's
They would get canceled for it.
Right. So here's a little tidbit. This is the type of guy that Mike Milbury is. So he was coaching for a while there with the Islanders.
Okay.
And so his team, even if his team would win, he would bag skate them. He'd make them do suicides. Like, that's Milbury. He's just a cranky ass.
Yeah. The first thing that came to my mind too, when we like this whole kind of you were explaining the scene, had to have been Slapshot for me. Was like the first thing that came to my mind was that movie.
So good.
All right. Which player holds the NHL record for goals scored by the draft-eligible player who was not drafted by an NHL team? Martin St. Louis, Dino Ciccarelli, Adam Oates, or Joel Otto?
It's not Oates. Is St. Louis?
What was that second guy? Was it Dino Ciccarelli?
Yeah.
Ciccarelli, yep.
Yeah, Dino Ciccarelli.
I want to say St. Louis.
Hall of Famer Dino played 19 seasons in the National Hockey League, primarily with the Minnesota North Stars. He scored 1,200 points and 608 goals in his NHL career, the most goals by a draft-eligible player who was not drafted by an NHL team.
Wow. I really took the L today.
You're taking the fattest L today.
Oh, rough.
Got one more here for you. What pair of identical twins played for the Vancouver Canucks?
Oh, for Pete's sakes, this isn't even a question.
It's not, honestly. I looked at this and I'm like, should I just skip it?
You don't even need to finish the question. You don't even need to read out the rest of the options.
22 and 33.
Yeah, that's the Sedin sisters.
The Sedin sisters. During his career, Daniel was known as a goal scorer, 150 plus more in the career at NHL goals than Henrik, while Henrik was known as a playmaker, 150 more career NHL assists than Daniel.
I will say I loved watching the Sedins play. I know I joke by saying the Sedin sisters, but you look at the plays that they could create together, they were phenomenal. Like, we're probably never going to see anything like that in the NHL, like,
no,
in our lifetime, right? Like, maybe even ever.
True. Yeah, no, definitely grew up with the Sedin twins as a child sort of thing and seeing them and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, honestly, like, they were fun to watch and super entertaining, playing like even the video games. It was super easy and fun to do. All right, well, that's all the questions I have for you guys today, of course. Wrapping up on a very hard question here today. I think Chris takes the win here with that one over the one extra point there on you guys today. With the good old Dino. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a good, excellent week, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, see you guys next week.
Yeah, later.
Ciao.